But yeah, that's why my sim pit now smells like burnt hair and shame.
Yeah.
No, dude, that's been smelling like that for a while. It's just strong enough for you to pick up on
It's
it.
fine. Yeah, I have to shower more in between sorties, but yeah, whatever.
Not if you want it. No, it's
Oh.
not if it's meal sim. You could have that thing stinking.
Right. Yeah.
Dude, you talk about stinking. Like warbirds, it doesn't matter what we do. Every time I'm in that thing, I'm just like pouring sweat. The gasket on the VR is like moist at the end. You gotta like wring it out.
Did he just say moist? I can't do moist.
He did. He did.
Moist.
It's moist.
Welcome to Half Hooligans, everybody. I'm Scud. We've got Jimmy Chaos and Fifi as always. Thanks to our sponsors, Fox 3 Managed Solutions, for letting us be here and say their name, and also our partners, Eagle Dynamics, Heat Blur, not Heebler, Heat Blur.
not Keebler.
Yeah, the Heat Blur Elves and Grinelli Designs and Disabilities for DCS. So,
oh yeah,
which we're working on getting the guy that runs that on us for a future episode.
Yeah.
But in any case, today's episode, we're going to talk about the Dogfight tournament and kind of do a hot wash at that and what we saw and how it went. And then give it enough time, if we don't completely derail with stories, we're going to talk about some of the hot topics on Reddit that are revolving around the DCS.
the community.
I promise.
From the
Yeah,
community.
I promise I won't crash out. So, but yeah, let's talk about the Dogfight tournament. Like that was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. That
Oh
was
my
5.5
gosh.
hours of streaming fun.
Dude,
and that is on
my-
our YouTube. If you're here watching this on YouTube, you can go and see it. And it was a long time.
That was a freaking marathon.
Dude, I was drinking tea with honey for like a day after that from me and like all of us just going, oh my gosh, you know, just like, oh my goodness. Like,
Did you see the YouTube comments? Someone actually said every time we say "oh my gosh," it was turned into a drinking game. So,
that's me. I'm the oh my gosh.
yeah, so
I do
That
want
was
to,
good.
this is not throwing shade, but I just thought it was really funny. There was a moment, it's hard doing like running commentary, right? It's tough, but you kind of get into a flow, and then sometimes you get knocked out of the flow. And there was a moment where I don't remember exactly what you said, Jimmy, but you're like, we've got Viper, it's flying, it's in the air. There's a Hornet, it's flying in the air. And it was just
No. So I rewatched it. And the moment was, so it was a Viper versus Hornet. And the Hornet was like, he was just aggressive off the bat. And I was like, oh, Hornet's doing this, Hornet's doing this, Hornet's doing this. And then you're like, oh, what's the Hornet doing now? Oh, he's diving in, you know?
Oh, that's right. Because you just kept saying Hornet. That's what it was.
That
Hornet's
was very
flying,
snuffed.
Hornet's turning, Hornet's diving.
Well, the Hornet was getting like super aggressive on it. And like, I was starting to get like amped. Like, ooh, we about to see the smoke's about to come.
so to speak. Anyways,
So go ahead, Fifi.
yeah, no, yeah. So that was fun. That especially since we started 45 minutes late because of tech issues and all the lessons that we learned. Definitely
Oh, yeah.
from starting that. Like organizationally, that was a nightmare, but it was fun to learn.
So-
between the website going down and
Whoa.
then like
This was the shit show that happened. So we built the Miz. Jimmy built the Miz. We test flew with like 16 competitors and streamed for like, I don't know, 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Everything worked. So it was like all vetted. Everything was vetted and it worked. And then I jumped on and I tested everything like the night before.
You and I were on it till like
We
2 in the
tested to
morning.
make sure everything worked. And then like a few, I don't know, 30 minutes before the dogfight goes live, when we shut down the registration and I set the bracket, like I set it in stone on the program, it all went to shit. Like the bracket loaded like 5 players and that was it. And so I'm like hustling, trying to fix the bracketing software and figure out how to rearrange it so that it shows everyone. And now we're like 10 minutes from brief time, and I go to load up OBS, and OBS wouldn't recognize my camera. OBS wouldn't recognize the other cameras. OBS dropped all the scenes that I'd built, like everything I had made to test. So it was like this mad dash to rebuild every part of the production within the 10 minutes before brief. And then we ended up starting 45 minutes late.
And
It
on
was
top of that,
literally-
like we actually had people show up extra, because of a lot of outside influences that that happened. But like we had a lot of people show up extra at the last second. They weren't registered, but they wanted to fly. So we were like, all right, let's figure out how to get
Yeah, we don't-
everybody in the tournament together and stuff like that. So
We had people with pitchforks. They're like, who let us in?
We did
pitchfork.
expand the tournament out to accommodate more players. And we really, really appreciate Eagle Dynamics throwing our tournament out on their newsletter. We were stoked. Like Jimmy's like, we're on Steam. And I like immediately go to Steam. I'm like, holy shit, we're on Steam. It would have been nice if that announcement had gone out earlier than the day prior. Because literally I wake up in the morning and then it's like all of a sudden, I think when I went to
All the
sleep,
Discord hits.
there were like 24 players signed up out of the 32. And then when I woke up the next morning, there were like 40 players with 8 of them in like the
Waitlisted.
wait list. And I was like, what the hell just
Yeah.
happened?
And the Discord exploded too. Like,
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude.
So
that was a lot
very
of fun.
appreciative, but a little bit earlier would have helped us manage the flood. The levee broke and
Yeah, but once we got it all running and things started getting, I felt like once we got the first fight going, like we kind of started like find our stride again after
Oh, yeah,
Absolutely.
after all that.
It was funny. So amid all this, it's like it's time to start, and Scud's sharing a screen, and we're trying to figure out like what's going on. We're putting our two combined, P's together, and we're like, Fifi's like, he's like, bro, I'm no help, and Scud's like, just go entertain everybody. So he pops down with like all the pilots.
Dude, that was awesome. But dude, the briefing was fun because everybody was like, "Oh hey," like it was like walking into a bar where everybody's waiting for you. Kind of thing, 'cause
Norm.
Where everybody knows your
Yeah,
name.
and it was really cool. So I was like, I was totally eating it up. I was like, "You guys want me to go back down there and hang out with them? Sure, I'll go back down there and hang out with them." But yeah, everybody was really cool. It's some really good questions that I kind of had to make up on the spot. But basically, like the briefing was like, here's all the rules, but really the number one rule is there are no rules.
Don't
Just
eject.
fight. Don't
Nobody
eject.
ejected.
I know.
The 5.5
was-
hours of streaming. I don't know how many rounds, how many fights that ended up being, but
It was like-
I'd have to count it up. But that was like
A lot.
nobody,
Not-
not a single
Not
person
even
ejected.
Jester. Not even Jester ejected from the Tomcats.
For those that have not flown in this type of an environment yet, you get shot down and eject, and after about the first 5 or 6 flights, everyone's merging on the 5 or 6 parachutes that are floating around in the match. So that was like the hard rule:
Yeah,
do not eject. Just ride the plane into the ground.
Yeah,
So-
nobody ejected. That was really cool. But let's talk about
Let's
talk about the tactics that we saw in the
Mhm.
dogfight, because definitely like throughout the fight, right? The that first round was just like
Yeah.
a shit show slugfest of everybody fighting.
Yes.
And then as you started getting through the rounds and then all the way to the final round, like you definitely start like the quality was exponentially higher of the pilots that were like going through as you notice everybody started flying to their plane strengths, and like those guys really started to stand out. Silent was happy because he didn't have to face the Mirage. We were all
let's
rooting for Silent.
Let's
to
talk that
defeat
real
the
quick before we get
Mirage.
into tactics. Just so the
Shout out Saturday.
We had an overwhelming number of Hornets, and we had a decent amount of Vipers and a couple Eagles and a couple Tomcats, but we had
And
a Mirage
one
2000
Mirage.
and a MiG-29 in the fight. We were supposed to have a JF and another MiG-29, but the JF signed up inadvertently like that, and I don't know what happened to the other MiG-29. He spawned in a Hornet, and so we're like, well, that's what you get from now on. But that was like the layout. Couple Tomcats, couple Vipers, MiG-29, Mirage, and then lots of Vipers and Hornets. And we'll get into how that pans out. We also had a variety of skill levels. Like we had people show up that had like 0 dogfighting experience, and actually some of them did pretty damn good.
Yeah,
I
it
remember
made it
one,
like
there was
second,
one
third
that he
round.
got shot down, but he fought for a long time. And he's like, "That's my first time doing a dogfight." dude didn't fly like it. And then we
Yeah,
had some
it was-
some serious contenders that knew what they were up to.
Oh, absolutely. It was kind of crazy because like the people who had never done, the within visual range guns only fight, they didn't merge with like traditional tactics. So it threw like a lot of people for a loop, and I think it like messed up their process that they had in their brains, and they didn't quite reset. And then we had some crazy stuff just working for some people. And we're like, oh my gosh.
I think the interesting merge
Everybody take a
Yeah,
shot.
another drink. Hold on. I got
for me, the interesting merge tactic that like manifested about halfway through the tournament, and then once it happened, like everyone saw it and started emulating it, was diving prior to the merge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take the
And-
fight down low fast.
Yes and no. I mean, you fight to the strengths of your airplane and the weaknesses of the other, and I'm not sure what made it work, but it started to work really well.
Yeah.
I think it worked when the aircraft that respawn is like first airplane dives low, the second airplane doesn't see that until late in the game, and then they do an aggressive pitch over to go down and get him, and they build up absolute tons of smash. And so then at the merge, you
Can't
climb using that to help get you back down to a good speed. The other person's, the first few times that happened, the person that was reactive was supersonic at the merge, and I think
Yeah.
that worked for until
was-
everyone caught on, and then everyone was diving at the merge.
There were some fast merges. Like, I mean, those were
Oh,
the
dude.
speed.
And close.
Yeah, the speed. A lot of them, like they were touching tips. But
A little
But
high
yeah,
five
like
on the way
this-
by.
yeah, the speed was insane. Like, and so that was like you could tell by like how fast or how close to the optimal corner speed that they hit the merge that we were able to kind of tell like who was going to win or lose that fight at the beginning. Just because like you saw Hornets going in the merge at like 600 knots, and then you had Vipers going in, super fast, and that's a Viper game at that point when you're that fast, and like it was crazy to see how you can tell where everybody was like practicing, and you could tell who was like studying their jets and who just had just done reps all the time of like just fighting without any purpose.
Yeah,
If that-
I think that makes sense.
Yeah. And
There was one fight. I went back and rewatched it, and there was one fight. It was a Viper and a Hornet, and they went past like canopy to canopy, and they were going so fast that the jets went past. And then we're talking, and 2 seconds later, like double freaking boom.
yeah. And like people like the way we set up this tournament was to make sure that each individual jet had its own strengths and weaknesses. And so like some of the feedback that we heard from across the field was like things like, like how the DCS Dogfighter server, each jet has like a balanced fuel load to where each jet gets the same amount of burner time, and and things like that. And or like, wake turbulence is off on some aircraft and things like that. And that doesn't give each jet its advantage when we do that.
Yeah.
And so what I was hoping for, I didn't do really much of anything for the Dogfight tournament except for show up. But
He was the pretty face.
but what yeah, even though I got called ugly. So
No, who called you ugly?
yeah, it happened in the freaking chat. Anyways, but I have a face for radio, remember? So but like but like one thing I was hoping that was gonna happen was like each jet was gonna like pilots were gonna, and we saw it towards the end, right? Like the Mirage guy like flew that Mirage like a Mirage should be flown, which is basically however the fuck you want to fly it. And then but like the Viper guys did really well, and the Hornet guys towards the end did really well. And I was really disappointed watching the Eagles fight, because I was hoping that the Eagles were going to use all that muscle and fuel to just kind of dominate and control the fight, sitting up on a perch, just constantly climbing higher than everybody and making everybody come up to get you. The Vipers were really good about staying fast. Like kudos to all the Viper pilots that in that fight. And then the Hornet guys, I'm severely disappointed in for the most part, because they were flying at 500-600 knots trying to fight a Viper fight and a Hornet, where the
Well,
Hornets.
the Hornet can rate it, but
Yeah.
you got to be at the right
Before I
speed
get
to
too
do
far
it.
in the weeds about that, but yeah,
But no, so you fight to the strengths of your airplane and you fight to the weaknesses of the enemy. So yeah,
Right.
you're right. We saw some people not understand that. They just thought, I need to turn however tight I can turn and get my nose on the enemy and kill them. And that's, like you said, reps. They know how their plane should be maneuvered, but they're not thinking about what the enemy's strengths and weaknesses are.
Yeah.
And we saw some some extremely well flown sorties like that. Silent stands out in my mind because he was fighting a Viper, and every single time the Viper tried to lure him into a Viper trap, into an area of the fight where the Viper had the advantage, he would avoid it. Like every time.
He left. He literally left.
So it's just he knew how to fight the Hornet the way the Hornet should be fought, but he knew the way the Viper should fight to know when to not bite off on something, when to not put himself in a situation where he's fighting to the Viper strengths. And conversely, we saw there was one, it was a rate fight between a Hornet and Viper, and the Viper pulls his nose up and just goes vertical, and the Hornet goes, I'll go uphill with you. And I didn't say it out loud, but I was thinking, well, you just lost that fight. Because at speed, there's no way the Hornet's going to climb with a Viper. Like you just cashed in all the energy you had and fell for their trap. So it was really interesting to see the spectrum of how pilots fought to the strengths of their plane and the weaknesses of their enemy.
yeah,
Another thing that was interesting is when they were locked in those longer merges where they were kind of fighting and they were thinking of their strengths, their opponent's weaknesses. We saw, Scud, you said a few times, we're going to see who makes the first mistake. And they would be literally 50-50, inside of a 2-circle and, be give and take, 5% forward, 5% back. And, it comes down to that patience game too, of waiting for that position or for your approach to pay off, because some of that we saw the one Viper Hornet fight, they did probably like 10 laps just chasing each other's tail. So,
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. So I'm not a fighter pilot. I did not go through IFF. I just got people ready to go to IFF. But there's axioms to dogfighting. Lose sight, lose fight is one. And we saw that a couple times where somebody went blind, and then by the time you reacquire the bandit, it's because they're on your 6. Except the one fight where they kept going blind on each other forever and ever, and then somebody conceded. But the second axiom is always maneuver in relation to the bandit. So your decision to move the stick or the throttle needs to be in response to what you see the enemy doing. And so when they're matched, they're across the circle and it's a rate fight and nobody's winning or losing yet, right? And that's where I'm saying somebody's going to make the first mistake. The moves that we would see that would lose the fight were moves where the person was maneuvering in relation to themselves. They were just like, nothing's happening. I'm not winning. I'm not losing. Let me just try something. And they would just turn the plane.
Yeah.
They would roll and go, you know what? Let me turn and go the other way. Fight's over. Like every time somebody maneuvered in that 2-circle fight that was not in relation to the enemy, you just made the maneuver, and the guy's going to now maneuver in relation to you. That's the first mistake. That's the error, and it is a hard patience game, because I do that all the time when I'm in a fight like that. Like I tell myself, don't do anything, maneuver in relation to the bandit, and then I do something like maybe this will work. Nope, it didn't work.
Yeah.
And that happened.
I think
a lot.
that's like a very easy pitfall to fall into, where you're like in that 50-50 like mutual situation or neutral situation, and you're thinking in your head, you're like, I have to do something to push this. And then when you do that something to push it, you give up that positioning.
Well, yeah, and especially if you're in a rate fight, if you do anything that opens your turn circle up or bleeds off your energy so you're not at cornering speed, you've just given up that advantage. It's all about staying at cornering speed and doing that for longer and better than the enemy, or waiting till they turn and then capitalizing on it. I think every single time that happened in the dogfight tournament, the first person to move to change the rate fight to something else lost. I can't think of one where somebody did something, changed the game, and won that fight. I think every single time it ended up being a loss, which is
I
telling.
think you're right.
Yeah.
And then
wild.
there was the Mirage.
Yeah. That
The
was
schoolyard bully.
I was so like, you only show up to a dogfight tournament in a Mirage if you know what you're doing. Like that guy.
Oh yeah, he was good.
Hear me out, for a Firebirds reference from the movie Firebirds, he was an Eric Stoller. Like, he showed up with his black helmet and black visor, and he was just there. Like,
yeah, dude, I felt like because it wasn't somebody from our group, it wasn't somebody we knew. I felt like in my mind's eye, he was wearing the Styx helmet inside the Mirage.
right? Yeah, just showed up.
El Rojito's
Yeah,
over there.
right.
Yeah.
We had the winner was Suaruto, and he was in the Mirage 2000. He won 2 modules. The runner-up was M107 Man and a Hornet. So that was the last 2 fights. It was best of 3, and the Mirage spanked the Hornet in that. And then we had the best of the losers. So like the semifinal winners
3v4.
or the semifinal losers fought each other for a prize, and the winner of that was Clayman in a Hornet. It was a Hornet.
Yeah, there was a lot of Hornets, so like numbers worked out.
Oh yeah,
for the Hornet
just
crowd,
statistically speaking.
Yeah.
But we were excited about the Mirage, and I fought against it a long time ago when Fifi flew it, and that was the only time I fought against it, and that was back before either of us knew what the hell we were doing. But watching somebody who knows what they're doing in that airplane, like the rate that nose moves in a pull is like it almost feels like Su-37 territory. Like that plane should not be able to turn around on a dime and then slow down as fast as it does and then speed back up. It's like, oh, you want me to slow down? And all of a sudden it's slow and it does a 180 turn. It's like, oh, you want me to go fast again? And before you even think about it, it's already pushing Mach 1. It's like, and then what are the cannons on it?
The 30mm cannons, the twin 30mm cannons on it.
Yeah.
Big.
Dude,
when it would smack something, it was crazy. It would hit, and you'd literally see like whatever was pounding that round would like violently like throw itself like as it's getting hit.
I'm used to seeing planes get hit or like the Hornet's wing like on fire and then the plane tumbles a little. Every time that Mirage struck somebody, the plane exploded where it was in space and time.
In pieces.
That was
violent.
Overall, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. I think people are asking for in the future possibly a World War II dogfight. Yes. That would be fun. Yeah.
That's
a Warbirds dogfight would be really fun.
Team Tom Cruise would be great.
We've already 9line already opined on this and settled. He actually joined just to clarify that he was not on your side.
I feel like 9line
just to shit on Fifi's hopes and dreams.
I think that's what it is. I think
Wags,
has
if you're watching,
choose the Mustang, Wags, please. For me.
Not gonna happen, dude. He's a gentleman. He's refined. He has good taste in airplanes.
Yeah. Regarding some of the comments we got back, like you said, the balanced fuel load, I'm 50-50. I can see why that would be an argument, but realistically, like pilots that fly these airplanes and training in real life aren't going to always go in at an ideal fuel load. And like you said, Fifi, I think it forces them to fight to the strengths of their plane and the weaknesses of the enemy. And you were talking about it, like it's not fair that the Hornet can turn the way it turns, but it's also not fair that the Viper can go to the moon like a Saturn V rocket. Like, you know, it's not fair that the Viper has less gas and the Hornet has more. It's just, you have to figure out how to best employ your airplane against the enemy. Regarding the wake turbulence, like, sorry, but that's what airplanes do when they fly through the atmosphere. They create wake turbulence. And if that was a surprise, if it was a sudden, like you weren't expecting it was new, then what's the thing we always say? Train the way you fight.
Yeah.
So if suddenly in our dogfight tournament you experience wake turbulence and it surprised you, then maybe you should be flying more with wake turbulence, because such a valid, real thing. And
Yeah, you could see it too.
if wake turbulence surprised some people in the jets, then it's going to really screw with people if we do a
In
Warbirds.
Warbirds.
Because
Oh,
when you are
absolutely.
at gun range and pulling for a shot, you are almost in every one of those Warbirds, you are directly in the enemy's wake turbulence because of the
think
tighter
Them
turn
turb
circles.
skis.
I think we really do need to do a Warbirds tournament.
I think it'd be
I think
great.
I think like I don't see a reason why I would be hilarious because you have to think about a Warbirds tournament. Like someone needs to show up flying an I-16.
And they'll probably dominate. Like,
yeah.
The one person who owns it.
Yeah. And then it'll be hilarious to see some like mosquitoes show up and fly.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you got that speed
can you
though.
imagine having a two-person crew mosquito flying in the tournament though?
Oh, dude, that'd be awesome.
Because-
You would not lose sight.
Right. I'm just saying, like there would be some fun stuff. But
Got some navigator sticking his head out the window.
yes.
You know,
I do think a Warbirds dogfight tournament is absolutely going to be on the books.
Yeah.
I think if anybody's interested in Warbird tournament, make a comment.
Yeah, leave a comment.
Also, another idea that somebody said was it could be a teams Warbird tournament, 2v2. You know, so you have to take a flight.
Ooh.
So, which could be fun.
That could be.
I would love to see somebody lose their wingman and then still dominate a 1v2,
Come back and win.
which could absolutely be done in Warbirds, because the Warbirds in modern jets, like the differences is kind of narrow in a lot of them. You know, it's like a plus minus, 3 to 5%. But in the Warbirds, that difference is miles apart.
Yeah.
Like when you have different strengths.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually that would be really fun.
And it goes, we're going to fight the strengths of your airplane and the weaknesses of the enemy, right? Like,
Yep.
if you're up to speed on how that works in your plane, it would be a very interesting fight to see,
And people having to
ME
manage
109, like trying to
and
get,
people having
go ahead.
and people having to manage their motors during
Oh
like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
have to-
there's a whole different dynamic to it.
you have to be a real freaking pilot to do that. And so everybody start practicing your Warbirds because we're gonna host a Warbird tournament. I'm calling
Yeah,
it.
but it's
And
not always a
the
turn
co-
fight. Like, if you're in a Mustang and you're trying to get in a turn fight with a 109, like
You're gonna lose.
you need to fight to that Mustang's strengths. You need to stay high and dive, and then cash all that energy and go back high, like Fifi was hoping the Eagles would do in the jet fight. If you're not familiar with that, that diving pass getaway fight, and
Yeah.
you're gonna.
And I will say if we do a Warbird tournament, like those Spitfires are gonna be menaces during that. In that
So
fight.
the Spitfire is going to be a menace in a turd fight, but also for anybody who has the Corsair and they know to throw their flaps down that 20 degrees, if they're in that 2 circle, throw those flaps out 2 degrees and it just literally walks the nose forward.
Yeah. So
That thing can turn.
that'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah.
But
And anybody in a jug who just takes every punch it's given, they're like, "Oh, hey, I'm still running. What's wrong?" You know?
The jug's like Butterbean in a boxing match. Just keep hitting him in the fake Homer Simpson. Just hit him over and over again.
Eventually, you're gonna cross my nose. You know.
yeah, so Dogfight tournament success with Scud still managing to walk out of it with some of his hair left
Yeah,
after
there's
that.
a little bit left.
after that start. Jimmy, did you have a favorite fight?
Oh my gosh, that's
I know I'm
hard.
putting you on the
There
spot.
was a lot of really good fights. There was one fight. I know we've said his name already, but Silent had one fight where he was going against the Mirage, and he was the only person I think to get close to it.
Silent never fought the
No,
Mirage.
he didn't. Did he?
No,
No, who was it? Who was the first tournament that went against the Mirage? Not for the championship round.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it might have been in the semifinals.
Layman,
but-
I think.
Yeah, I think it was Clayman. I don't remember, but there was one fight where the Hornet was fighting the Mirage, and both pilots were extremely stubbornly staying within their set with how they were approaching every fight, and they would go hit a merge, 1 circlet, 2 circlet, and then it just split, both of them, just be like, hey, we're resetting. And it was cool to see how they were kind of like tiptoeing back and forth to each other waiting to see who could, enter with an advantage into a turn.
I remember that.
So
Yeah.
that was
cool.
And they chased each other like all the way across the map. And we were joking, like, hey, they might have to stop and get gas. We're like, oh, Sanaki's right there, So
There, Scud, do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I really like Silence Fight, like I mentioned before, where he was
People don't
staying
think we're in
out.
love with this guy.
We are, but he was smartly staying out of the trap that Viper was setting for him. But I think even though there were really quick fights that had a lot of like sharp turns and the scissor going on, I think that the more fun fights for me to watch were the ones that probably at first seemed boring, and it's the ones where they're trying to outrate each other and it just kind of goes nowhere for 5 or 10 turns. Those were the ones that were fun to watch because that was two people that really knew what they were doing, being patient and waiting for somebody to make a mistake, and then watching how such a small mistake, if the enemy knows what they're doing, they just capitalize on it. It was like one wrong move and then immediately the fight is defensive and then you're shot down. It was just a lot to learn watching those fights.
Yeah, those guys were really fun to watch too, because the patient fighter sitting there, as soon as they recognized that mistake, they pounced so hard and fast on their opponents.
Yeah, it was.
We saw a lot of Vipers. The Vipers in the first like 2 rounds, when they were flying discipline inside their fight, they pounced really hard on those Hornets that tried to go to the energy fight.
Yeah, it was definitely like in football, like a game of inches. And for those dogfights. Yeah, I agree.
What about you, Fifi?
Actually, you know what? It's crazy. There was
a C-130.
No, it was Male's first fight.
Yeah,
because that's when Male's first fight. I was like, the Eagle's gonna make it to at least the semifinals, because if he flew like that every time, because the first thing he did was just plug the burners, went vertical, and was like, "Come get me! Like, you're not gonna get me." And he took the fight into the freaking cons because the Eagle just hung up there. And then when he got shot, you know what he did? He kept fucking fighting because that's what the Eagle does. And won.
Didn't he got knocked out by the Mirage, didn't he? In like the 3rd round?
I don't remember
when he got knocked out by. There's so many fights, but like that first fight,
when he went out though, he got pounded because he got hit. He had like an engine fire.
Duel.
And then he got back in the fight.
Dual engine fire.
And he refused to stop until there was nothing left. And he was literally falling to the earth. And whoever he was fighting was like, I'm finishing this. And he's like, breakout, flaps out. And he's just perched.
It's just a flesh wound. He's got both wings, both tails, both stabs gone. He's got both arms cut off.
Pilot's blown apart.
Yeah, but there
was one kill. There was another fight that went up in the cons. They were up in the 30s, and somebody got a gun kill as they were going over the top in the cons.
It was a Tomcat fight.
That was cool. We were all like, "Oh my god, they're so high up there in the cons!" And then as we're saying that, somebody gets it. There were a lot of spray and praise. Like I think I've got the angle shoot, nope, shoot. But there were a couple like surgical application of bullets into an enemy airplane. Like 1 second burst and every round hit, and it was like, that's all I needed. I'm done.
Both wings gone, like ball of flame, like just.
That was super cool to watch.
Yeah.
So thanks everybody for showing up.
Thank you.
We definitely have to do it again because that was a party.
The sponsors 100% I think made it work, because when I was doing all the prizes afterwards,
that was quick.
Everybody who won
chats. Everybody had their everybody was like ready to throw their stuff out so quick.
Yeah.
I think Toby put himself in the tournament, so you just hope that he made it far enough to where he can just give himself his own prize.
That's what I would have done. I'd be like, hey,
cool.
Eric, you said, what do you say? Chimmy Chase or Jimmy Chaos.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. The next, whenever we have time to get it all put together, the next event I think is going to be Jester's Dad. We talked about it before. Free for all. Me, Jimmy, Fifi, and Jester in either F4s or F14s from one side of the map to the other. We will have probably live Rios, so it'll be maybe 8 players, 4 jets. and the rest of the map is populated by whatever you want to jump in that flies, and if you shoot down Jester, you win a prize.
Yep.
So it's going to
But
be a
it's-
mad dash to find and kill Jester, and whoever kills Jester wins the prize. So there's no team effort. So even though it could be 100 of you trying to find him and kill him, you can also kill each other, so that you're the only one to get him.
I feel like I want to make a cash prize for it, just to make it like,
Just so that people are just knocking each other out.
yeah, like I want to throw in like a cash prize for it.
I feel like it's
Just-
going to be
I
like
think-
Top Gun Maverick, where the Su-57's missiles coming off the rail as it gets blown up. That's going to be every jet that gets close to Jester. Every time somebody's launching a missile, another blue air missile is going to hit him from behind. and
Yeah.
just
We may
people
not
plowing
have
through
to,
each other.
we may not even have to defend, like, because people are just going to be after each other. Just
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun day because we're gonna fly caucuses. It's a huge long map. There's not gonna be any AWACS. You're not gonna any. There's no bras on that day. You got to find us.
No bras,
And-
bros.
We've been talking, amongst the four of us. We're like, yo, how are we gonna approach this? And
We got a few
we got a game
tactics.
plan. We got a game
we're
plan.
weaponeering this thing. Like we've got like 2 months already where we've been doing the web tac thing, and we're like, all right, we got this at the end. Or then 2 days later, we'll be like,
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's gonna be fun. So
Yeah, it will be
All right.
fun. We might have to run it like a couple times and give out a few prizes. Depends on how long it
Cool.
takes.
Yeah.
But
we're probably looking at, I think last time we talked to Grey Wolf, probably 6 to 8 weeks for when everybody's schedules kind of link up. Plus, we got to let the heat from Dogfight tournament cool down.
so
Yeah.
that's what we've got on deck, and then a Warbirds dogfight to come sometime later on. Badass.
yeah, everybody.
Dude, it'd be badass to have the Warbirds dogfight on like New Year's Eve or something like that.
But
You're
everyone's gonna be
asking
out
a lot of my
partying.
schedule. Yeah, you're asking a lot
Exactly.
of my schedule, man. Like,
Exactly. We'll call it the Warbirds New Year's. Where they said extravaganza.
You guys-
Extravaganza. We'll figure it out.
you guys plan these things like you've been married for 20 years. Like me and my wife have only been together for 2 so far. So
Yeah, you got to get her conditioned to video game schedule, bro. Scud and I, we go, you got to buy that time, go watch a couple episodes of Survivor, be like, all right, now I got to go fly.
yeah, for us it's Love is Blind. But anyways,
Wow.
dude, I'm telling you,
Dude.
it's so good though.
You
It's
guys in your trash TV.
so good.
Oh, it's so good though. No, Survivor's not trash TV. Survivor's amazing. Like
I can't
the
believe
social
that's
game that you have to
still
play.
on. Yeah.
It is. So, we just finished the last season 2 or 3 days ago, and it was crazy. Like it's if you've never watched Survivor, like
I did a long time ago.
immediately,
Not
it has developed so much more
Oh my god.
because they have like hidden.
I
it's
watched
good. It's good. This is about
Naked and Afraid. That
airplanes.
was the only one I kind of got into, just because that one's like
That's good.
they're legit like naked in like the fucking jungles of some
Yep.
austere location.
We
But like, what kind of like turned me
Also
off
me on a
from
bonfire night on a Wednesday.
yeah,
but-
yeah. You're not afraid though. You're dancing with bears outside in your underwear, man.
Dude, oh, don't get me started on that.
What-
Like the
what got
bear,
me-
and then
Go ahead.
and then we hit a deer on the way back from dinner the other night. So like,
What is it with you and wildlife?
dude, Florida wildlife. So
So-
we were gonna go to the beach today, and we decided not to go to the beach because we thought we'd probably get bit by a shark. Like it was
So for everybody watching who's not in the Discord, Fifi's had a bout with Florida this last week and a half. He had a black bear about 9 days ago come through his house. He's like, "Oh, I gotta go shoot away," and then it came back and said, "Fuck you," and wrecked his whole fence and everything in the backyard. So he had to repost his fence, rebuild his fence, and then last night in his brand new GMC, creams a deer at 70 miles an hour.
I do want to say
yeah.
that Fifi, when he's like, "Hold on, we're talking," he's like, "Hold on, there's a bear outside," and then he sends us a video, and it's a
That's
bear,
cute.
it's a black bear, literally like right outside of his house, like digging in the trash, and Fifi's like talking to it like it's a person. He's like, "Hey, go away, go, you go away, get out of here." And it was just like the most like bear. I don't give a shit. Hey, Look at me. You gone.
Well, what's funnier was like he had his phone out and he's recording the whole interaction, and he's got like his slippers and like a moo
I
on.
was in my
He's out there
Crocs.
talking to a
I was in my
bear.
Crocs.
Did you see a moo moo?
Moo and some
I was in
slippers.
my Crocs. I was in my Crocs. I have my Crocs on.
He had his curlers in his hair. Yeah. Just another Florida Tuesday night.
Florida man. Hey, anybody out there with that artwork gift? We need Fifi in a moo slippers talking to a bear.
We've got him in his. We got a picture of him in his underwear chasing the bear.
Dude, the trampoline one was awesome.
Oh man, I love all
But-
the high alpha artwork. All right,
Moving,
let's move on.
moving on. Yeah. So
Rerail
let's. I promise I'm not going to crash out, but I think it's time for us to start addressing some of like the DCS, the outer world of DCS, right? Because we're always talking about here within the hooligan circles and things like that, right? And what's interesting to us and super we love doing that and stuff like that. And I know everybody likes hearing and hanging out with us, but there's a whole lot more world out there than just us. And so let's talk about like some ED news, some DCS news. And so I went through Hoggit, I went through Reddit, Hoggit, Flogit. I even went through the DCS Exposed one, had a couple good laughs, and then immediately clicked off of it. But
I've never been to DCS Exposed.
oh my God, it's
I feel like I need to be in private browsing for that one.
You need a VPN.
put
VPN into Canada. Like
put on your rubber suit when you go to the DSU. He says, but so I picked up some of the big
just picture. Sorry, I just picture Brad Pitt in Fight Club when he comes out of the bedroom with the rubber dishwashing gloves on. I think that's Fifi coming out of Hoggit Exposed.
yeah. So here's some of the big topics. So we'll just go one by one on it. So this first one, everybody's always, especially with the MiG-29 coming out, right? The announcement of MiG-29, everybody's super happy about it. And they said, "Hey, ED, we want more red air, right? Especially with the unfortunate and untimely. We're not going to get into the reasons why or anything like that, but the unfortunate and untimely downfall of Razbam and ED's relationship." Because we all know that the MiG-23 was in works, and Razbam has put out some incredible modules and aircraft and things like that. Some pretty good quality.
Well, it's not only that, they also had what's the turboprop that they were making?
The Super
It's
Tucano?
the mod. Yeah, Super Tucano. The Super
That
Tucano
would've
was
been cool.
also on the Razband menu. Yeah, that would have been.
That would be really cool.
I hope it gets fixed because I think that'd be a fantastic thing to play.
Yeah, that would be.
Fly.
I love the
you
Super
know?
Tucano. That was a really cool one. But
Yeah.
so let's talk about why we don't have a lot more red jets in, right? And so I did a lot of deep diving research. I'm sure I'm gonna probably get some sort of angry gif from Nine Line when he watches this and things like that. But from what I've researched, there's a lot of bylaws in Russia about Soviet equipment, and they treat everything as classified, right? Because they don't want their adversaries, i.e. us and a lot of the Western nations, know the capabilities of the aircraft. It's not as commercial as Western air forces have. And so the MiG-29 we have, Wags has come out and said, and everybody's come out and said it. It's an export model. It's like the 9.19 export model that was exported to the Warsaw Pact. So it's not even exactly because nobody exports their
It's
best
not
model,
Is
right?
it the S that was exclusive to Russia? Because there was the
Right.
A, there's a G, there's the S, there's a couple more.
Right. And so this is
Yeah.
technically a Polish model, MiG-29.
Mm.
And so that's why you don't see as many red jets outside of like AI ones.
everything we have that is a Red Air Russian designed aircraft has been exported. Everything we have in DCS is something
Mhm.
that has been exported. We got the MiG-15, MiG-21, MiG-17 was out there for a while, but as we've already mentioned, it's not now. So 15, 17, 21, Hind Hip, the Black Shark, which they had an export version, and then they did not export the Alligator, the side by side. That's why we don't have that. The Flogger,
33.
the Su-33, everything out there that we have is something that that's an official module, is something that's been exported. So I think you may be onto something there.
Right.
Well, remember there was 2 months ago, there was like the actual request that was sent to Eagle Dynamics, and they said, "Hey, don't do these helicopters," and so
For what?
we don't have. Was it the Hind and the Hip? I think where they changed the naming on the e-store. What was that? Helicopters off DCS.
Oh, he's gonna look it up.
Googling
Yeah,
right now.
and you have to
Yeah.
remember, like, there is still a large part of the dev team and things like that that are Russian, and so it's common knowledge, and so there's for not then they don't want to get in trouble, and the largest purchasers and purveyors of DCS are Western NATO people like us that like to fly
Yeah.
it, so that's why we don't get it.
Yep.
I know
It was the KA-50, the MIA, and the M24 were taken off the e-store.
Right. Okay.
March 3rd of this year. I'll send you guys the article real quick. And it was at the request of, I think it was Russia, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, having the dev team be a part of that nation, there is a risk to them putting out content that doesn't go over well with their country. So
yeah. So there's that. But what if we could, like, perfect world, what was, I know Jimmy has already purchased the MiG-29 because he is so excited about that thing coming out. What
I think the MiG-29 is going to be a fantastic aircraft for us because you finally have a balanced foe for the Viper.
Yeah. But perfect world, what's a wish list aircraft for you guys?
Oh, Flying Fortress.
I'm talking about
Russian Red Air.
Oh.
The Tupolev copy of the Flying Fortress.
The PE-8 was that?
All right, so it's back on the store now, but I think it was like a 1-week period, and if I remember correctly,
he's still like buried in that.
He's gone.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, yeah. So
we could make fun of his beard. We
Which one
could
is still
talk shit
here?
about him. He would not even know what's going on right now.
Yeah, it's true. You can.
If I remember correctly, they were taken off the e-store and then they were reintroduced with slightly different names.
Huh.
Yeah, so it's very specific now. The NATO hip,
Oh, see, so there we go.
the 29. I don't even see the COF 50. I don't see the COF 50 in the store right now.
So if anybody has a legitimate reason why, throw a comment in and let's talk about it. and
Wish
things like
list
that.
for
But
me though, like you were asking. I think the Alligator, the K-52, because the Black Shark is so fun to fly already. Dual crewing that would be badass. That's never going to happen.
does sound
It's not an export model. They did not export any 52 Alligators.
Official module. Have you seen the teaser videos for the community mod that's in development for it?
No.
What?
It is perfect.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Perfect. Like the textures are amazing. I'll find it and dig it back up. But yeah, the Alligator, there's a small team and they're taking the, what's the one seat? Journal blank.
Black Shark.
They're taking the Black Shark and they're building on the Black Shark to make the Alligator. So I'll find that teaser video for you, but the textures look awesome. All the systems are there, like everything.
So speaking of mods, then speaking of modules, I'm going to go to the next question here. Next thing. So everybody likes another thing that, it happens in a couple games that I play, but another thing here is people are very vocal about, people wanting quality of life updates to the game. Like, we can shout from the rooftops about dynamic campaign and, how about fixing this issue or that issue? You name the issue, right? Versus coming out with new modules and aircraft. So, like the balance between paying the bills and updating quality of life within the game. How, you know, when it comes to, how would I say, like, when it comes to like choosing between those two things, right? Because I think a lot of people don't understand, like, now that we've kind of talked to developers and seen the insides of certain things, like, everybody kind of has strengths and weaknesses, and some devs might not be good or allocated to doing that, while some devs are making modules. What do you guys think about, how that?
I think so. It's a balancing act, because you can apply this to either Eagle Dynamics or a third party.
Mhm.
You have to, a lot of these studios and a lot of the projects, even inside Eagle Dynamics, if you watch the video where Wags was with Gonky and Mover, he says there's, a couple teams within Eagle Dynamics, because Eagle Dynamics not a huge studio at all, like EA or anything like that.
It's like 100.
And so they have to,
right? It's like 110.
yeah,
people.
you have to, I don't know, make sure the juice is worth it, right? Because, which is a louder voice? Hey, this weapon system's bug, or this system is bugged. I can make it work, but I have to do a workaround. Or is the louder voice, hey, give us new modules? So I think it's hard to appease to everybody, but I think sometimes the louder voice is the one that gets fed. So I think the louder voice in some situations right now is that MiG-29. Right now it's that the Hellcat, stuff like that. Pacific Theater assets.
Ooh, yeah.
I think that's where the loudest voices are. And I think Eagle Dynamics is trying to, and every studio out there, they're trying their best to, balance, if they have 3 people on a project, do we take 2 people off the new project and inject their effort into something that works, that you have to work around, or is not completely 100%, or do you, roll out that new module or map,
Right. 'Cause that
Yeah.
pays the bills.
I agree. There's a balance there. I think you're right. The louder voice gets fed. I think it's a pendulum that swings, not necessarily driven by the dev team. Just, everything's working and flowing well in the game, and people want new content, and the devs push out new content, and then in that swing where we're getting all these new airplanes, that's when things stop working on older modules that need to be fixed and updated. The Tomcat and the Phoenix missile being nerfed for a while. There was a gap in time there where, that's what the Tomcat does, right? Like, it lobs 50-mile Phoenix missile shots. And there was a moment in time there where the Tomcat you couldn't do that. It just wasn't hitting anything. And eventually that becomes the louder voice, right? People get satiated by the content, and then their decibel levels go down, and you start to hear the decibel levels of the people that are complaining about the modules that they're used to and that they fly that aren't working. And I don't envy the guys that have to figure out and balance that.
Yeah.
It's tough to be a customer in that ecosystem, because you want both at the same time. But I think the thing that, I kind of go back to is, this is a very small operation, and even the player base is not huge. Like, it's people who love combat aviation who are in DCS, and if we tonight grew 1 million more players, and those 1 million players all bought 1 million more modules, there would then be money to hire more people on the dev teams to fix everything. But right now we're still in that small ecosystem.
Well, and I think diversification could help, and I'm not throwing any shade at Eagle Dynamics, because they make great modules that we can fly in the game as well. I like the stuff that they put out that we can jump in and fly. But if they were more dev teams, and I'm sitting here at my computer as a player who doesn't develop and code and engineer shit, but if there were more teams out there designing and developing modules for the game to free up load from ED, so that ED could concentrate less on modules and more on the platform, I think that would be awesome. But of course, that's me sitting here being like, listeners out there, figure out how to make a module and make them so that we can balance this out. Like, I don't know I can't do it. I wish I could, man. If I could design a module, I wouldn't fly the game ever again. I'd just be, neck deep in technical.
I'd just be building shit.
Well, what crazy is how intense it is to make a module, and from certain developers that we've talked to, and people leveraging their houses to fund a module being made. And
Oh
they're-
yeah, taking out second mortgage and everything.
yeah, like
That's a huge gamble.
it's a
I think-
huge gamble.
I think that DCS picking up a larger player base, especially the folks that are moving from non-PC playing platforms like console type stuff, people that are getting into it, like learning on Xbox controllers and starting to develop into DCS players. I think the more the player base builds, the more we're going to see more developers, right? Because
Yeah.
it's supply and demand.
Well, we've seen that. Think about 2019. We were all flying DCS back then. When we had 5
Was I?
4 red jets, we had 5 4 blue jets. And 5 maps.
I think I was still playing
And
EVE
then-
Online back then. Anyways, sorry.
My gosh, dude, Fifi, you're like playing stuff like 10 years behind. EVE Online was like early 2000s.
that was back
No,
when
it's
Fifi
still-
was still feeding money into Star Citizen.
I'm still feeding.
It'll be
money into
finished
Star
someday,
Citizen.
real
Still,
soon, guys.
yeah.
It'll be finished real
I'm still,
soon.
I'm still feeding money into Star Citizen. I am terrible.
Yeah. One thing you mentioned, quick question for you guys. So about this time last year, maybe about 10 months ago, Wags had a nice long video and he was talking about maps. And he said, we have 2 green maps in development right now. And there was like all the speculation. One was Germany. And then we saw the 2025 and beyond. We're like, that's Germany. We still have that 1 green map that's in development that is
Ooh,
unknown.
what do you think
What do you guys think that might be?
Ooh, let's see.
I have my speculation.
So we already have Germany. We have Cola. A green.
Cola was already out. Cola's not one of the 2.
It has to be. It has to be a Southeast Asia map, because
I think it's a Vietnam because we've been seeing a lot of that era, that Cold War. Cold War was
push for it.
Vietnam was fought during Cold
We have
War.
the F-100 coming.
Yep.
The F-4
More
set
places for
F-100
me.
coming. We've heard, you've heard on a past episode that the A6 Intruder is in development.
Yep.
So,
Keebler, when that's ready to be tested, you better call us. Like
no kidding.
Grey Wolf.
So,
like,
yeah.
you better freaking call
Bang
us.
bang on the doors, wake us up, pitchfork it. We'll run straight
Yeah.
for us in pits.
I agree. I think it's a Southeast Asia. I think it's a Vietnam, Cambodia map.
The Laos area.
Yeah,
That
that'd be kind of cool.
is going to be awesome.
So
On that note, if there's any
Hey,
dev
you said
teams out there, since we're going that direction, an A26K counter invader would be an amazing module in DCS.
because you have a SME here who has flown it.
Not the K, but
So
I've-
close enough.
close enough. So A26 is a monster, like 4,000 horsepower World War II bomber that nobody knows about because it entered like right at the end of the war. They flew him in Korea, and then they updated like 65 to the counter invader, put more power and more weapons on him, and flew him in Vietnam. And it's one of only
So-
2 planes that have fought in 3 wars. That and the C-47.
One thing I would like to add to that is I would love to have maybe 2 versions, because if you guys look at the Invader, there's versions for days, and it's a really cool airplane because the development team was led by a race pilot, so they made it super fast, and it went through a lot of back and forth between the Department of War then and with the
Department
developer
of War.
and Department of War. And there was one version that came out, and the layman's terms was it's called the Tank Killer, and it literally had a cannon that would go through the nose, and the pilots would shoot that cannon.
It
at
had a
tanks.
105 millimeter, or I'm sorry, 75 millimeter howitzer.
75, yeah.
It was
Just like
only
the-
ever
I
a
would
test version.
love-
It was never operational.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? With DCS, it can.
But
Yeah.
with
The B-25.
the normal counter invader, you still have 14 forward firing 50s and then bombs and rockets.
Yeah.
You think that
That's
the,
cool.
the,
And
the
multi-crew.
P-47 with its 8 firing 50s does some damage. 14.
What about
yeah, the Invader. We should have an episode one day where we just talk about the different versions of the Invader that came out.
There's only a
There's
couple.
so many.
Well, I mean, all the ones that were tested, because there was, dude, that is an airplane that had a lot
It's
of.
the
roles. There was
A-10's
knife
grandpa.
that-
Yeah.
yeah, it had the There was the Night Fighter one that had a huge radar mounted in the front for hunting at night. Even no,
Are you talking about
there was one that was tested.
P60. 61 Black Widow.
That's the P61 Black Widow.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But so Segway
yeah.
Sally here. Moving on.
Segway Sally.
Segway Sally. So speaking of Cold War versus Modern Jet and stuff like that now, because the community is definitely split. Like the F4, like if there wasn't a split already, like the F4 definitely like solidified changing the game and changing the face of DCS. Like
So
damn you
good.
Heat Blur for putting out
So good.
the F4. So good. Cold War versus Modern Jet. We were just having this discussion this week about like what the next campaign on the server was going to be. Like we all like we've had people who want to do Cold War stuff. We know we want to do a Cold War, another Cold War campaign on the server. So I think we're going to end up probably doing a Cold War campaign on the server. That's not my wheelhouse.
Dude, modern is winning by 1 vote right now, and I need
I haven't
anybody.
voted. I haven't voted. I got to go in and vote.
Well, hurry up, because then I'll just use my mission making powers and say, "Oh, we're going Cold
Yeah.
War."
So, but so with all the cool Cold War stuff coming out now, which one are you guys finding better, and why? Between flying Cold War jets and modern jets.
Cold War.
Yeah, it's
3 for 3 on that one.
it
yeah.
is. It is. So
Well,
we always say like Warbirds is like the romantic time of like aviation combat aviation. Cold War is like raw muscle, brute strength, and you have to work for every inch you get. Modern jets, you pre-program, you do everything. It is slick, cool, haircut, leather jacket, aviators, but Cold
I
War
love the
is
imagery that you're building with this. This is so good.
Cold War is big mustaches, tons of bombs, and just muscle. And everything you do is work, because you have to manage the plane that's trying to kill you. You have to outsmart what's trying to kill you outside your environment. And then you don't have like the best you got is a labs computer, and if you're getting shot at by, ZU-23, you can't just drive straight in. So
yeah,
I think
I agree. And I caveat like that early Cold War, because, the Cold
Yeah.
War extended into
Right.
4th gen
Mhm.
jets, but we're talking like
I think I'm talking
third
Vietnam.
Vietnam.
gen
60s, 70s.
Tomcat, A4, F4, stuff like that. MiG-21. I agree. It is raw, like aggression and muscle. Like the F4 doesn't create lift. It just beats gravity into submission.
Gravity,
with, sheer
yeah.
power. And
Sure.
there's
The amount of
this.
stuff you can carry on.
Yeah, it's this
Oh,
neat
dude.
crossover where you've got, like Warbirds, a couple bombs, hard to aim, some machine guns, and then you've got modern jets that do everything for you. It's this balance where it's like it's still a jet and it's still armed to the teeth, and I've got a radar and I've got an RWR, but it's so
You have a radar.
elementary in its operation, or in its capabilities rather, but it's so complex in its operation that it's a huge learning curve. And so when you start to figure out how to run the stuff and then employ it, when you get a good couple, splashes on enemy MiGs in the F4, it feels like an accomplishment more than when you do it in a modern jet. And I think there's enough out there to make that uniquely fun. Like, I know that, the Chinook could be Cold War, but not the one we're flying. But like to go do like a rescue in the jungle in a Huey, where you're ADFing off a rescue beacon and you have no like map or nav aids to help you, and wandering into the wrong area and getting shot at by the VC, dude, that would just be wicked fun.
And then having a bunch of F4s fly overhead and drop napalm as a screening pass.
There's
napalm
a
60 kids.
huge world
Yeah.
out there, very dynamic, that I think is fun. And I think it'd be cool for like the campaigns and mission makers, like the Operation Bolo, like pretending to be F-105s while you fly your F4s,
Oh,
stuff like that.
yeah, dude.
Just
Wicked
super
smart
cool.
shit.
really cool. Like if we have, hope, pray that we get a Sky Raider, and then there's a Medal of Honor
That'd be awesome.
Medal of Honor winning Sky Raid mission where the dude landed on an enemy airfield under that they were attacking to rescue his buddy that was shot down. There's so many cool Pardo's push, like Vietnam, early Cold War jet, like lore. There's like a plethora of good mission making stuff.
I think I'd fly in A4, get shot down, and then run for senator later.
Sure.
Who
Yeah.
don't say it, but we'll see who recognizes that reference. See if there's anybody who gets that reference.
And on that note,
But yeah,
Vote for Fifi.
vote for Fifi. Yeah, Fifi for senator in Arizona. I'll give you that's my last clue.
right. Maybe
yeah.
maybe even run for president at some point.
Maybe even run for president at some point. Yeah, and then get hated by everybody surrounding me. Anyways, but yeah, thanks guys for that. Final notes. I'm sure everybody's heard about it. I mean, every other YouTube channel has done some sort of video and analyzing what happened, but lost an air show aviator, Slab, the Polish F-16 demo pilot. Sad, but happens. I think there's a GoFundMe up. I don't know where it is, but there's a GoFundMe up for his family. So if you guys can find that, it goes to a good cause. But yeah, nickel in the grass for that guy, and then light a piano on fire for him. And yeah, keep flying, everybody. Like and don't let the vocal minority talk for the rest of everybody else. If you have good ideas or you have things that you'd like to see, definitely speak up about it. There's plenty of great forums and stuff like that won't get you snuffed out. I know a lot of the ED team watches our podcast. We'd be happy to bring it up. I know they're in our Discord as well and watching conversations as well. So, if you guys need somewhere that a normal player wants to be heard, come hang out with us. We'll help get voices out there for sure. And it goes for everybody, I think. What else you guys got?
No, I was just going to say something similar. Just enjoy the game. Stop getting wrapped up in all of the I want this and I wanted it yesterday garbage, and just have fun. That's the whole point of this game, is to go out and pretend you get to be a fighter pilot and blow up Trons in a make-believe world. Like it's fun. Just relax, have fun. I see Eagle Dynamics post a commercial about MiG-29, and the comments are 50%, bring this back. I want this. This was supposed to come up before. What about this other jet? Like, dude, just play the game and have fun and be patient. You'll win the fight.
Yeah.
Make that first move, and it's your error, and you're gonna get pounced on. Right? Just
Hi back.
it's a raid fight. Have fun. Go fast. Blow stuff up. The jets will come.
Yeah. I think fun with homies, like that's one thing I think DCS does really, really well, because you can play any multiplayer game, but I've never seen a community built around a game like DCS. Like you go Call of Duty, and it's who's got the Homer Simpson skin, but you go to DCS and you've got
It's
whole
still like,
groups,
who's
and
got the Homer
organizations.
Simpson
It's still
skin.
who's got the Canadian Maple Leaf skin in DCS.
But no, it's groups of friends who, hey, let's try and do this. It doesn't work. And then, everybody's chatting throughout the week, like, hey, how do we do this better? And it has that cycle of building camaraderie and skill together.
I will say, Jimmy, you have mopped the hallways of a fantastic organization here, since you're just the janitor.
I am just the janitor.
But yeah, like come fly with us. Like it's a lot of fun.
Swear Jimmy's like, he keeps saying he's just a janitor, and then one day he's gonna take his beard and mustache off and he'd be like, it's undercover boss. I'm the CEO. Scud, you're fired.
Yeah, oh man, I gotta tell so here's my story. Yeah, I'm working here because a bear took it down my fence and a deer destroyed my car. So, when you have that moment at the very end where you're crying in your office with me about how heroic I am, just remember me when you send me a bunch of money.
So you hear that? Fifi wants you to send him stuff, guys.
No, don't send me anything.
Hey, the last time he said that, he got a Hercules
I
model
do.
sent to his
It's right here.
house.
Look. I still fly it. It's right here. It stays on my desk.
Don't forget, join the Discord, hit up myself for Scud. We'll give you that PO box. We'll get you guys. Actually, I want to get a moo made.
A
with this
moo-moo?
pin up on the back of it.
Oh, if that happens,
got a
I got
weird
one
fetish right
too.
now
Hold
with-
on.
Okay.
oh, if
I got a weird thing about Fifi and a moo today for some reason.
if you said I'll wear it for a podcast, if that gets sent to me, I'll wear it for a podcast.
Fifi's gonna have his little plane. I got one too.
Oh, that's cool. I don't think I have any back here.
I'll Jimmy, if you make a
I got Star Wars Legos. I got Steelers swag.
Jimmy, if you make
I got my
if
puppy.
you make a high alpha hooligans moo, I'll wear it on the podcast.
Hell yes, dude.
Hell yeah.
100%.
So
Buffy the
on
Forehead
that
Slayer.
note- on that Buffy, that's a good one. I like that.
I didn't
on
come up with
that
it. Fat
note-
electrician did.
On that note, I think we should just I gotta do some editing here.
Edit what? This is perfect.
This is
Not a
perfect.
single thing wrong with it. Perfect.
Jimmy, any final dad advice?
Oh, dad advice. Man, I think I started this trend and I didn't like come prepared. Make sure when you're drinking water because you're dehydrated, you're not getting your snow for colder climates from the yellow snow to melt.
And on that note,
That's
What's the
not
most
lemon
common
flavored.
or most complicated way of saying don't eat yellow snow?
don't eat yellow snow. Thanks everybody. We'll see you guys later.
Rifle
Until
kazoo.
next time.